Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here with a quick video tier list looking at all the gold weapons in the game. If you've played 2.0, you know that damage commanders are kind of king, and weapons and accessories have damage stats on them, so they're very, very valuable. And today we're looking at weapons, so this should be pretty quick. This will be linked down in the description below, the actual finished tier list if you want to get a copy of that. That's down in the description below, as well as the top-up link. So if you are spinning in the game trying to figure out your gear, you use the link below. It does support the channel at no extra cost to you. It's actually cheaper in some parts of the world. So check that out down below. Let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, now jumping in, I want to explain what I have on this picture here because I'm going to do this for all the weapons. We're going to do accessories next, and then we'll do armor and helmets as well. But I feel like weapons and accessories are pretty clear in my opinion. So what I have here is the average damage. Every piece of weapon, not every weapon has it, but the weapons that have a damage range obviously have an average. Some of them don't have like a fluctuation at all. It's like 20 to 20, or some of them are like 15 to 30. So I averaged out all of them just so you can get an idea what are the on average highest dealing damage dealing weapons in the game. And then down here I have, it's going to say either physical or elemental, and the number that's associated. So this is commander attack here. For the elemental ones, it's going to be their focus. You can kind of get an idea for what these pieces are doing and why they're getting the rank. It's all statistical, but I know not everyone wants to open up a spreadsheet and kind of figure that out. So this is the quick, easy tier list version. And again, I'm just using these numbers as a means to rank them. But again, if you're looking at it and getting confused, it's just this is their average damage at the very top right here. And then this will be their either commander attack if it's physical, or elemental. If it's elemental, it's focus. So if they're doing focus damage, you want elemental. If they're doing poison damage, you want elemental. If they're doing physical damage, you want the commander attack or physical. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that was explained, but let's go ahead and jump in. And the number one spot in the Balrog tier is going to go to the Obsidian Dagger. Now, the Obsidian Dagger has an average damage of 22, and it has a focus of 51. It's kind of the highest boosting piece in the game in terms of like physical or focus. So it's going to be in the Balrog tier, and if you are using anyone that does focus damage or poison damage, this is absolutely the best in slot item for them. So that's the first one. Next up is going to be, and again, the ranking of these two doesn't really matter because they're different weapons, so don't get hung up on that. But this is the Axe of Khazad-dûm. It also has an average damage of 22, and its physical damage or commander attack is 48. So technically this is giving more, but they do different things, and they're for different types of commanders. So physical, elemental, you could rank them however you want to, but those are the best two weapons in the game for damage dealers. This one being physical, this one being elemental. Again, I'm saying that a lot, but I hope it's clear because I think once you figure this out, it's pretty simple to know what you should be going for. All right, next up is the Morgul Blade. The Morgul Blade has an average damage of 20 and elemental damage of 42. Next one, we're just going to go kind of rapid fire. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I think it's pretty clear at this point. The next one up is going to be the Black Bow, average damage of 20 as well, with physical damage of 39. Again, you could rank these however you want to. One is physical, one is elemental. In my mind, these are the second best options for your commanders. So if you're running a formation with two physical damage commanders, for example, one might run the axe and one might run the black bow, because unless you're a very, very big kraken, you're probably not going to be refining multiple of the same items at one time. So that's where you could run, these two on someone, or again, if you're running two elemental commanders like Skullhelm and Staro, they could have one on one of these, if that makes sense. So those are the next two options. The next one I'm going to also put in the A tier is the Blazing Tongue. I forgot what it's called, the Blazing Tongue. It also has an average damage of 20. The thing that makes this unique is it has focus 27 and it has commander attack 27. Now, there's, to my knowledge, very few circumstances where you'd want both of them. Again, if you know for sure, comment down below. I think there's a couple I can think of, but for the most part, you're going to be picking one or the other. But it is kind of nice because it's a flexible piece. So technically, you could use it on any damage dealing commander in the game. So if you invested in it and wanted to move it around, it's a very safe one, I guess. But since it does share stats, it has lower stats. It's 27, which is lower than any of the other individual stats we've seen so far, but it still has good average. So I think it's a very solid item. It's also available in the season end shop, so it's probably potentially over time one of the more easily refinable pieces if you get one that has the right set effect you want. I think there's potential for that to just be a very, very solid item. So that's going to be the Blazing Tongue there, closing out the A tier. All right, next up is the cruel hooks, and we're jumping into the B tier. Now, for me, the B tier is probably where I try and draw the line, but it does depend on the size of your account. If you do have something in the B tier that completes a set, whereas something in the other tiers would break it, I think they're okay to use. But at the end of the day, these are very long-term investments. You want to refine them all the way so you get all of the, like, these are all the maxed out stats. So you want to get to those stats. So if you can't refine them, that's not super ideal. So anyway, we have the cruel hooks with 18 average damage. We have 27 physical. Next up is the reach of the Rittermark. Same thing as the blazing tongue here. We have average of 20. We have elemental and physical both at 21. So another flexible piece, and again, one that if you had this, it could go on any damage commander across the board, and they're going to benefit from it. Whereas if you put, you know, the active cause of doom on Starro, he's not going to benefit at all from the commander attack stat. No focus. He wants focus. So anyway, another flexible piece and one that definitely can be used. And honestly, there probably could be an argument for it being a little bit higher since it's more flexible. But statistically speaking, it's kind of formula that I've made here puts it right here. So we're going to put it below the cruel hooks. Next up is going to be the Hammer of Moria. Here we have 18 average damage and 18 physical. So we're starting to get a little bit lower. Again, something like the Reach of the Rittermark, having both stats still as higher than this does just for this physical. So I think especially this is where I'd probably try and draw the line. But again, none of these are bad pieces. But since they're such long-term investments, we want to prioritize the better ones. All right, we're going to jump to the C tier now. Next up, we have the Nightfall. This is average damage 17, physical damage 18. Then we have the Bow of the High Elves. This does have both. They're not evenly split. It's kind of a weird one. So it's got average damage 16 as well as elemental 18 or physical 9. So I think this is probably best to use on an elemental damage commander. Other than that, again, it's probably like the third or fourth best option for elemental commanders, and way down the line for physical. So not super amazing, but that is the Bow of the High Elves. Then we have the Mirkwood's Thorns. It is average damage 17 and elemental 15. And last but not least, we have the Sandclaw, the third kind of equal elemental physical piece. And again, not a bad one. Got average 16, 15, and 15 on both. But again, you can start to see where they go down from 27 to 21 to 15. So again, I wanted to make this pretty short and sweet, so hopefully that helps you guys. This will be linked down in the description below. They're all solid pieces, so don't be upset if you're using some that are in the C tier or B tier, because you do have to use what you have. And if you have something like the Cruel Hooks or the Hammer of Moria that has Might and it completes a full set, I think it can be very good. But just, again, my big thing is they take so long to refine because they're gold pieces of gear. It's expensive. So if the average player, I would just look for these, hang on to these. Even if they don't have the right sets, I'd be using Balrog and A tier if you can, and just waiting for the sets to come, and just work it like that. So anyway, that is going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.